AudioBooksTube is glad to produce, publish, and offer. Art of Willpower, Take Control with Occult Power Moves by Sage D. Esotreasure. In the realm of human potential, the concept of willpower transcends ordinary definitions of discipline or decision-making. Instead, it embodies an ancient, almost sacred force, a power revered throughout mystical traditions and occult knowledge. This force, when properly understood and harnessed, can shape not only individual lives but the reality we inhabit. The ancient wisdom of the Rosicrucians, Gnostics, and Hermetic traditions speaks to the nature of this will as a divine spark, an inner flame of creation that connects us to the universe itself. By awakening to this force, individuals can unlock their hidden potential, align with universal energies, and achieve mastery over the mind, body, and soul. Many esoteric teachings highlight that willpower is not just a mundane tool for achieving goals. It is a spiritual force at the core of our being. The Hermetic tradition, for example, emphasizes that the will mirrors the divine principle of creation, the same force that set the cosmos into motion. This suggests that within each of us lies a microcosmic reflection of the larger universe. Mastering this force of willpower is not simply about personal achievement, but is intrinsically tied to spiritual ascension, leading to a greater understanding of self and a deeper connection to the divine. But why turn to the occult to better understand willpower? The occult, often associated with the mysterious and the hidden, has long dealt with unseen forces that govern existence. These traditions offer a path beyond superficial notions of self-discipline and provide profound insights into how willpower functions as an alchemical force, one that refines the soul and transforms reality. Through practices drawn from these ancient teachings, we can learn to channel this force with clarity and intention, using it to affect both our internal landscape and the external world we experience. The path to mastering willpower is a sacred one, revealing mysteries about the self, spirit, and cosmos. As we delve deeper into this journey, we encounter the teachings of Hermeticism, Rosicrucianism, and Gnosticism, each offering valuable insights into the nature of the will and its potential. These traditions serve as guides, leading us through exercises, rituals, and meditations that help cultivate and direct our will toward both spiritual awakening and practical mastery. Rather than focusing on brute force or relentless striving, this journey encourages a more refined approach. It asks us to align ourselves with the natural rhythms of the universe and to tap into the deeper currents of energy that flow through all things. Through this process, we come to understand that true power is not about control or domination. Instead, it is about resonance with the divine will, a harmonious alignment that allows us to move through life with grace, purpose, and clarity. The teachings found within these mystical traditions remind us that willpower, when aligned with the divine, can lead to transcendence. It is about more than achieving worldly success. It is about awakening to our divine potential and stepping into the role of the Creator in our own lives. This is a power that transcends the physical plane and taps into the metaphysical, giving us the ability to shape not just our own destinies but to contribute to the upliftment of all creation. Through the lens of these ancient traditions, we learn that willpower is not a separate force from the universal energies that govern the cosmos. Just as the stars follow their ordained paths across the sky, so too does the awakened individual follow the path of divine will. This alignment brings with it not only personal fulfillment but a sense of purpose that extends beyond the self, contributing to the harmony of the universe itself. The sages of old, who walked this path before us, left behind a vast treasure trove of knowledge, wisdom encoded in symbols, rituals, and teachings that have been passed down through generations. By studying these timeless practices, we can unlock the full potential of our willpower and become masters of our own destiny. This journey begins with the first step, awakening to the mystical nature of will. In these esoteric traditions, the will is not seen merely as a function of the mind, but as a divine force, a primal energy that shapes both the individual and the universe. Ancient mystics understood that the will originates from the depths of the soul and extends outward, influencing the world. Within Hermeticism, Gnosticism, and Rosicrucianism, the will is viewed as the divine spark within us, echoing the same creative power that gave birth to the cosmos. Mastery of the will is, therefore, synonymous with self-mastery. Those who achieve it gain dominion over the external forces that shape their lives. The Hermetic principle of mentalism tells us that the all is mind, suggesting that the universe itself is a mental construct. In this view, our thoughts, desires, and will are not isolated to our own minds, but are reflections of a greater cosmic mind. Therefore, the will is not a mere function of human cognition, but an active force that interacts with the universal mind to manifest reality. The will, then, is like the philosopher's stone of the alchemists, a tool for transmutation, capable of turning intention into reality. Those who have studied the ancient mysteries know that willpower is the key to unlocking this creative potential. It allows us to align our thoughts and actions with the divine order of the cosmos, thereby manifesting our desires in accordance with the universal plan. In Gnostic traditions, the concept of willpower is deeply tied to spiritual liberation. Gnosticism often views the material world as an illusion, a creation of lesser forces, known as archons, whose aim is to keep humanity bound in ignorance. In this context, willpower becomes the tool for breaking free from these chains of illusion. By exercising our will, we assert our divine sovereignty, rejecting the external influences that seek to control us. This act of spiritual rebellion allows the soul to ascend beyond the material plane, returning to the realms of higher knowledge and divine wisdom. Rosicrucian teachings further refine this concept of willpower, seeing it as a sacred faculty that must be harmonized with the divine will. While personal willpower can certainly be used to achieve success in the material world, true mastery of the will involves aligning it with a higher purpose. This alignment not only benefits the individual but also contributes to the greater good, elevating humanity as a whole. In conclusion, The path to mastering willpower is one of spiritual refinement and alignment with universal forces. By studying and practicing the wisdom of ancient traditions, we can learn to channel our will with clarity, precision, and purpose. This journey is not merely about achieving personal success, but about awakening to our divine potential and becoming co-creators with the universe. Through this process, we step into our role as masters of our own destinies, using the power of will to shape not only our lives, but the world around us. To truly harness willpower, one must align their personal intentions with the greater purpose of spiritual evolution. This is a central teaching in the Rosicrucian tradition, where the highest expression of will is in service to the divine plan. In this view, personal desires are not abandoned but rather refined and transformed, aligning them with the collective good. The Rosicrucians emphasize the idea that willpower should uplift not only oneself but also contribute to the elevation of humanity's collective consciousness. The Rosicrucian path of inner alchemy is a journey of self-transformation. It focuses on purifying the will by turning selfish desires into noble aspirations. This process is likened to the transformation of base metals into gold in alchemy. The goal is to refine the individual's willpower until it becomes a conduit for divine energy. To master the will, one must first understand its nature as a dynamic, energetic force that flows through both body and mind. Willpower can be compared to a river. When focused and directed, it can carve a path through even the hardest stone. But when it is scattered or undisciplined, its energy becomes diffused and loses its potency. Learning how to concentrate and direct this force is a fundamental part of mastering willpower. In the following exercises, we will explore techniques that help align personal will with the universal will. Meditation, visualization, and ritual are among the tools used to harness this sacred energy. Understanding the mystical nature of willpower is key to unlocking one's potential. By tapping into the same force that the great sages and mystics have used, one can shape their destiny. The first exercise in mastering the will begins with cultivating stillness and focus. In a quiet, undisturbed space, close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. With each inhale, imagine drawing in the energy of the cosmos, filling your body with light. As you exhale, release any tension or distractions, allowing your mind to become still and clear. Next, bring your focus to your will, the core of your being, where desire and intention originate. Visualize this will as a flame within your chest, a bright and powerful light that grows stronger with each breath. With every inhalation, see this flame intensify, burning away doubts and fears. With each exhalation, feel your willpower extending outward, influencing the world around you. Repeat this practice daily, letting the flame of your will grow brighter, stronger, and more focused. This is the first step toward mastering your will and aligning it with the greater forces of the universe. The Hermetic tradition offers a profound understanding of willpower, particularly through its principle of mentalism. Hermetic wisdom teaches that the mind is the primary force behind all creation. The principle of as above, so below reflects the correspondence between the mind and the external world, emphasizing that what occurs within is reflected in what manifests without. This understanding forms the foundation for mastering willpower. One of the central texts in Hermetic philosophy, the Kybalion, emphasizes the principle of mentalism, stating that the all is mind. According to this teaching, the universe itself is a mental construct, shaped by the thoughts, intentions, and will of conscious beings. To master willpower, therefore, is to wield the creative force that governs reality. Everything begins with the mind. To understand willpower through the lens of Hermeticism, one must grasp the concept of the mental universe. Ancient practitioners viewed the mind not as a passive tool but as the engine of creation itself. When the conscious mind is aligned with deeper layers of the subconscious and superconscious, it becomes a conduit for divine energy, capable of shaping reality according to one's will. Every thought and intention is like a seed planted in the mental universe. Through the proper exercise of will, these seeds can blossom into tangible outcomes. This is the essence of mental alchemy, the art of transforming thoughts into reality. However, the path to mastering willpower is not without its challenges. The Hermetic principle of polarity teaches that all things exist on a continuum of opposites: success and failure, strength and weakness, focus and distraction. These poles are not separate forces but rather different degrees of the same energy. To harness willpower effectively, one must learn to shift their mental focus from one pole to another. Just as the alchemist transmutes lead into gold, the practitioner of willpower can transmute thoughts of doubt and fear into determination and confidence. Understanding that all mental states are connected allows one to shift perspectives and turn challenges into opportunities for growth. Willpower, in this sense, becomes the tool for transcending limitations. The power of the mind over matter is not limited to grand acts of magic or miraculous feats. It is also present in the small, everyday decisions that shape the course of one's life. Hermeticism teaches that true mastery of will lies in the consistent application of mental focus. Every thought, word, and action is an expression of willpower, whether for better or worse. Those who lack control over their thoughts are like ships adrift in a storm, tossed about by the winds of circumstance. But those who have disciplined their minds can steer their lives with precision, unaffected by external chaos. This is the gift of mental mastery. To begin mastering the Hermetic principle of mentalism, it is essential to develop focused thought and intention. The following exercise is designed to train the mind to stay fixed on a singular goal, resisting distractions and doubts. Find a quiet space where you can sit undisturbed. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, allowing your mind to settle. Choose a goal or desire you wish to manifest, something specific and attainable. Visualize this goal as though it has already come to pass. See yourself living in this reality, feeling the emotions of success and fulfillment. As you hold this image in your mind, focus all your attention on it, allowing no other thoughts to intrude. If distractions arise, Gently bring your focus back to the image, reinforcing your intention with each breath. Practice this exercise daily, gradually increasing the time spent in focused visualization. Over time, you will notice your ability to maintain focus strengthening, and your willpower will become a powerful force in shaping your reality. Mastering willpower is a journey that requires discipline, focus, and alignment with higher purposes. By practicing these techniques and embracing the teachings of Hermeticism and Rosicrucianism, one can transcend personal limitations and become the architect of their destiny, shaping both their inner and outer worlds with the power of the mind and will. In the vast exploration of the mind and will, the Hermetic teachings emphasize that control over the external world begins with mastering one's internal landscape. The idea that the universe is, at its core, a mental construct is a key Hermetic principle. By shaping the mind, one shapes the universe itself. With a focused mind, willpower becomes the architect of life, guiding each individual toward their chosen destiny. The discipline required to maintain mental focus and concentration forms the foundation for even greater expressions of will. As you cultivate this focus, you lay the groundwork for influencing the material world. According to Hermetic philosophy, the universe is mental in its essence, and the mind holds the creative force that governs all things. Therefore, by mastering the mind, you also master your surroundings. This concept, encapsulated in the Hermetic maxim as above, so below, reminds us of the correspondence between the inner and outer worlds. When we focus our willpower and thoughts, we align ourselves with the universal forces, becoming co-creators of our reality. The only true limits are the ones we impose upon ourselves, and by exercising discipline and intent, we can move closer to unlocking the infinite potential within. In the Hermetic and Rosicrucian traditions, intent is seen as the driving force behind creation. It's not simply a desire or wish, but a concentrated energy directed toward achieving a specific outcome. In esoteric thought, intent channels both conscious and subconscious energies toward manifesting one's desires. To practitioners of inner alchemy, intent is the divine spark that triggers transformation, aligning personal will with the higher forces of the universe. Intent, in this context, is not passive. It's an active force, a deliberate choice to bring about a desired result. The Rosicrucians regarded the setting of intent as a sacred act, calling upon the higher energies of the cosmos to align with one's will. Similarly, in Gnostic traditions, intent is likened to the divine thought that creates worlds, a moment when thought and will merge, birthing new realities. For intent to be effective, it must be precise and focused. Vague or scattered desires produce weak results. Esoteric teachings emphasize that clarity of thought and purpose is crucial because the universe responds to the strength and purity of one's intent. Much like a sculptor with a clear vision of the final form before carving marble, the practitioner of willpower must hold a specific image in their mind before manifesting their intent. The more focused the intent, the more energy it gathers. This energy pulls in unseen forces, bringing the invisible into the visible. Without clarity, however, this energy scatters, creating faint ripples instead of powerful waves. At the heart of manifestation is the alignment between personal will and the divine forces that govern the cosmos. To set an intention is to align oneself with universal forces. When this alignment occurs, manifestation becomes effortless. It is as though the universe itself conspires to bring your desires into reality. This is what occult teachings refer to as divine intent. Rosicrucian and Hermetic practitioners knew this well, often undergoing spiritual purification before setting their intentions. This purification ensured that their desires were in harmony with the divine flow of energy, merging personal will with divine purpose. The purification of intent, where personal desire merges with the divine plan, is the secret to creating lasting and meaningful change. To harness the power of intent, you must engage in focused, deliberate practices that bring your desires into alignment with the greater cosmic will. To help with this process, the following ritual is inspired by the Rosicrucian and Hermetic traditions. First, choose a specific intention, something clear and aligned with your deeper purpose. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted and light a candle to symbolize the divine spark within you. Sit comfortably in front of the candle, close your eyes, and focus on your breath, allowing your mind to become calm and centered. Once you feel grounded, bring your chosen intention to the forefront of your mind. Visualize this intention as a seed being planted in fertile soil. Imagine roots growing deep into the earth and branches reaching toward the heavens. Feel the energy of this intention expanding, as if it is already real and present in your life. As you breathe in, imagine each inhale feeding this seed with energy, and with each exhale, release any doubt or resistance. When you feel fully aligned with the energy of your intention, speak it aloud, affirming that it is already manifesting in your reality. To close the ritual, extinguish the candle, symbolizing that your intention has been set into motion, now left to grow in the unseen realms. While this ritual is simple, it is also a profound act of creation. You are not merely wishing for an outcome but engaging in the sacred act of manifesting your will in alignment with the universe. The power of intent, when combined with ritual, is magnified. Rituals serve as conduits for higher forces, using symbols and actions to channel energy more effectively. This enhances the impact of your will and intent on the universe. Intent becomes a current of focused energy, guiding the flow of creation itself. In this path of self-mastery, understanding the role of intent and willpower is crucial. By aligning your personal desires with the divine will and engaging in disciplined practices, you unlock the ability to shape your reality. The journey toward mastering intent is not only about achieving personal desires, but about learning to work in harmony with the greater forces of the cosmos. This alignment brings a deeper sense of fulfillment and a realization that, as creators, we are constantly weaving the fabric of our own reality. Intent is the thread that we use to shape our lives, and through focused willpower and clarity of purpose, we can bring even our deepest desires into being. By mastering the mental universe and engaging in the sacred act of intent, we step into our roles as co-creators with the divine, shaping our world with each thought, word, and action. Engaging with spiritual practices like lighting candles, visualizing growth, and speaking your intentions aloud channels your inner willpower into tangible results. By doing this, you participate in an ancient act of creation, tapping into the same energies that shape the cosmos itself to influence your personal reality. The power of intent serves as the foundation for all magical and spiritual practices. Whether it is the magician weaving spells, the alchemist transforming base matter into gold, or the mystic striving for union with the divine, intent is the force that drives all creation. When harnessed, intent becomes the guiding force behind all actions, thoughts, and words, directing energy toward a predetermined outcome. Ancient sages understood this principle well and lived their lives with unwavering focus, constantly aligning their personal will with that of the divine. By mastering intent, one steps into the role of co-creator, shaping not only their destiny but also the world around them with wisdom and clarity. However, one of the greatest obstacles to achieving this level of mastery is the ego. It is the force within us that clings to desires, fears, and illusions, preventing the higher will from fully manifesting. The ego is necessary for navigating the material world, but when it dominates, it becomes a barrier to spiritual growth. Esoteric traditions have long warned against allowing the ego to govern our lives unchecked. It binds us to temporary, superficial realities and keeps us enslaved to our reactions and attachments, standing as the great opponent of true willpower. In Gnostic teachings, the ego is often compared to the demiurge, a false god who rules the material world and keeps souls bound to illusion. The demiurge represents ignorance and control, blinding us to our true divine nature. Like the demiurge, the ego creates a false sense of self that convinces us we are separate from the divine and others. It tells us, "I am this body, this identity, this story," when in truth, we are eternal, formless consciousness. Overcoming the ego is about seeing through the illusion of separation and reclaiming your divine nature, infinite and whole. In alchemy, the process of overcoming the ego is symbolized as a death and rebirth, a necessary phase in the great work. The ego represents the lead, the base material that must be transformed into gold. This process of inner alchemy involves breaking down the ego's attachment to power, status, and desire to allow the higher self to emerge. The phase known as negrito or blackness represents this breakdown of the ego's illusions, leading to the eventual rebirth of a purified self. The ego's resistance to change is strong, and it often manifests in the form of self-doubt, procrastination, and fear. This resistance stems from the ego's desire for control and predictability. The ego thrives in conditions of safety and familiarity, so any attempt to transcend its limitations will be met with friction. However, esoteric teachings remind us that this resistance is not something to fear or suppress. Instead, it should be viewed as a signal of impending transformation. Like the alchemical process of turning lead into gold, the soul must endure the heat of resistance to purify its will and ascend to higher levels of consciousness. One practice for overcoming egoic resistance, inspired by Gnostic and alchemical traditions, involves meditation and visualization. Begin by sitting quietly and allowing yourself to feel the inner resistance, whether it manifests as fear, doubt, or uncertainty. Instead of fighting it, acknowledge its presence without judgment. As you breathe deeply, visualize this resistance as a dark, heavy weight on your chest. With each inhale, imagine drawing in a bright golden light of awareness, and with each exhale, see this light dissolving the dark weight, bit by bit. Continue this visualization until you feel lighter. Once you feel free from the weight of resistance, turn your attention to your higher self, the part of you that is free from fear and doubt. Connect with its calm, powerful presence and ask it to guide your will. Affirm to yourself, I am not the ego, I am the eternal will of the divine. End this practice with a period of silent meditation, focusing on the feeling of liberation and the clarity of your true purpose. This meditation is itself an alchemical process, allowing you to become aware of the ego's resistance while simultaneously dissolving its hold on you. As with any transformative practice, consistency is key. Over time, as you confront and release the layers of ego, you will notice a shift in your perception. No longer will the ego's fears and desires dictate your actions. Instead, you will begin to act from a place of inner clarity and strength, where your will is unified with your higher self. The journey of breaking free from the ego is not about destroying it entirely. The ego has a role in navigating the material world, and attempting to annihilate it would be counterproductive. Instead, the goal is to transmute the ego's energy into a higher expression of will, one that serves the soul's divine purpose rather than obstructing it. Through awareness, meditation, and inner alchemy, you can rise above the ego's limitations and reclaim your divine will. In overcoming the ego, you step closer to your true essence, the part of you that is boundless and connected to the cosmos. As the ego's chains fall away, you will find that your willpower grows exponentially, unhindered by the illusions of fear or separation. No longer a servant to the whims of the ego, you become a sovereign being, free to direct your life with clarity, purpose, and divine authority. The Rosicrucian and Hermetic traditions teach that this process of overcoming egoic resistance and harnessing the power of intent is the key to true mastery. Once freed from the illusions of the ego, the self becomes an instrument of the higher will, shaping reality not through force or desire, but through alignment with the eternal consciousness that we all are. Ultimately, this is the path to spiritual self-mastery, overcoming the ego's chains, aligning with the divine, and wielding the forces of creation to shape both personal and cosmic realities. Through this journey of intent and self-awareness, you reclaim your role as a co-creator with the divine, unlocking the infinite potential within you and shaping your life with wisdom, clarity, and purpose. The Rosicrucians, those mysterious seekers of higher wisdom, held a profound understanding of willpower's role in service to the divine. For them, willpower wasn't just a personal tool for achievement but a sacred energy meant to align with a greater cosmic order. They viewed true mastery as the merging of personal will with divine intent, a process where human desires harmonize with a much grander plan. This approach to willpower becomes the key to personal transformation and contributes to the elevation of all life. At the core of Rosicrucian philosophy is the belief that the human soul is a microcosm of the divine, a spark of the infinite that seeks to return to its source. This journey, however, requires active participation. The will, in this view, becomes a vehicle for spiritual ascent, functioning as a bridge between the material and spiritual realms. It shapes not only our inner reality but also the outer world. Yet, the Rosicrucians understood that for willpower to reach its highest potential, it must transcend individual desires and align with the divine. The rose and the cross are perhaps the most recognizable symbols of Rosicrucian wisdom. The cross represents the challenges of earthly existence, while the rose symbolizes the blossoming of the soul, the divine spark within. This imagery serves not just as a symbol but as a guide to how willpower must function in our lives. The rose's petals, unfolding gradually, reflect the purification of the will. Each petal represents a layer of ego, fear, or doubt that must be surrendered to allow the emergence of the pure essence of divine will. This process is gradual, but through disciplined spiritual practice, the will is transformed into a tool for divine expression. The Rosicrucians taught that aligning the will with the divine begins with self-purification and cultivating virtues like compassion, wisdom, and humility. When willpower is separated from these higher virtues, it devolves into mere ambition, driven by ego rather than spirit. But when infused with divine love, willpower transcends individual limitations and becomes a channel for cosmic forces. In this state, one's actions are no longer motivated by personal gain but by a deep sense of service to humanity and the greater good. This is the essence of Rosicrucian mysticism, understanding that willpower, when aligned with the divine, transforms not only the self but also the world. To start aligning your personal will with the divine, the Rosicrucians practiced contemplation, prayer, and service. One simple practice you can incorporate into your daily life is a morning ritual of alignment. Upon waking, sit quietly and take deep breaths, visualizing a cross within your heart with a blooming rose at its center. With each breath, imagine the rose's petals unfolding, releasing light into your entire being. Mentally affirm, "I align my will with the will of the divine." Feel this alignment as a flow of energy moving through you. End the practice by setting an intention for the day that serves not only your personal goals but also contributes to the greater good. Though simple, this practice gains power through repetition. Each time you engage in this ritual, you strengthen the connection between your personal will and the divine flow of life. Over time, you will notice changes in how you approach challenges and decisions. Instead of being driven by fleeting emotions or ego-based desires, you will begin to act from a place of clarity and purpose. Your will, now aligned with divine intent, becomes an unstoppable force capable of manifesting not only personal success but also contributing to the elevation of all those you encounter. The Rosicrucians believed that the highest form of mastery was not about controlling others or accumulating power, but about using willpower to serve the divine plan. This is the ultimate expression of willpower when it no longer operates separately from the cosmic forces guiding the universe. In this space of divine service, one finds true freedom, as the will is no longer confined to personal ambition but flows with the boundless energy of the cosmos. This path of spiritual mastery is akin to that of a spiritual warrior, a warrior who uses their power not for domination but for creation, healing, and uplifting life. The Rosicrucian teachings remind us that willpower is not merely a tool for personal achievement but a sacred force designed to align us with the divine. At the heart of the Rosicrucian mystery is the understanding that true power comes not from imposing our will on the world but from surrendering it to the divine flow of life. By aligning our will with higher principles, we become instruments of spiritual transformation, both within ourselves and the world around us. Through daily practice and conscious intention, we unlock the deeper mysteries of the universe, allowing our will to blossom like the rose on the cross, unfolding in harmony with the infinite. A key aspect of this transformation lies in the practice of stillness, an often overlooked but powerful occult tool. In many mystical traditions, silence is revered as the foundation upon which spiritual power is built. This silence is not simply the absence of sound, but the stilling of the mind, the quieting of the restless inner dialogue that keeps us bound to the mundane. For adepts of ancient esoteric schools, mastering inner stillness was akin to unlocking the door to the mysteries of the universe. In its deepest form, silence becomes the source from which all creation flows. Through concentration, a cultivated stillness of mind, practitioners begin to shape their reality. Concentration, as taught in occult traditions, is not merely a matter of focus. It is the deliberate act of channeling willpower toward a single point, creating a vortex of spiritual and mental energy. The Hermetic sages believe that the mind is a mirror of the universe. By mastering concentration, we can reflect the universe's order within our own consciousness, aligning our personal will with the cosmic will. This alignment transforms our inner and outer worlds, allowing us to manifest our highest potential. In essence, the path of willpower, as taught by the Rosicrucians and other esoteric traditions, is a journey of alignment, an alignment of the individual with the divine. As we cultivate this alignment through daily practices like meditation, visualization, and conscious action, we unlock the deeper mysteries of existence. Our will, like the unfolding petals of a rose, becomes a tool not just for personal success but for spiritual transformation, radiating out into the world to uplift and heal. The Rosicrucians, those enigmatic seekers of wisdom, believed in the power of concentration as a means of harnessing the forces that govern the cosmos. They saw this ability as a form of magical invocation, a process that draws upon the powers of creation through focused attention. This method, referred to as the fixation of thought, involved directing one's mind to a single objective, dissolving distractions, and allowing the will to pierce through the material world. In the chambers of the mind, where thoughts no longer scatter like wind-blown leaves, lies the secret to bending reality. This isn't a metaphor. The ancient mystics understood that concentrated thought is a creative force, capable of shaping existence. Just as a magnifying glass focuses sunlight to start a fire, the focused mind can kindle the flame of manifestation. Concentration, then, becomes the act of gathering mental energy, eliminating fragmentation, and directing it toward a specific goal, transforming thought into reality. In their esoteric teachings, the Rosicrucians often began with simple objects, like symbols, flames, or geometric shapes, to train the mind and sustain focus. One common meditation involved visualizing a rose, observing its petals slowly and rhythmically unfolding. This practice wasn't just visualization but a profound method for stilling the mind and connecting with deeper layers of consciousness. As the practitioner concentrated on the image, their mind became free of distractions, granting access to subtler realms of awareness. Over time, this practice sharpens the mind, transforming it into an effective tool for shaping both inner and outer realities. To cultivate this power, you can practice a simple concentration exercise. Sit comfortably in a quiet place, undisturbed. Light a candle and place it at eye level. Focus your gaze on the flame, letting all other thoughts fade. Watch the subtle dance of light and shadow, and as your breath slows and deepens, observe your thoughts without attachment, allowing them to dissolve as your concentration intensifies. With practice, the mind becomes still, and in that stillness, the power of your will awakens. Mastering concentration offers more than just improved focus. In daily life, the ability to direct your mental energy with clarity and resolve allows you to approach challenges with precision. Esoteric concentration is not about forced effort, but a relaxed, yet intense focus that aligns the mind, body, and spirit toward a singular purpose. Over time, your thoughts no longer control you. Instead, you will use your mind as a tool, channeling your will to manifest your desires in the world. As you continue practicing concentration, you'll discover that stillness is the root of all power. From this place of silence, intuition becomes clearer, guiding your spiritual journey. The mystics of old knew that to hear the whispers of the divine, one must quiet the mind. Concentration, therefore, is not just a tool for achieving external goals, but a key to unlocking the deeper mysteries of the self. In the stillness of your mind, you will encounter the infinite, the boundless source of all creation. There, you will begin to understand the true nature of your will. Remember, this practice isn't about perfection, but persistence. Each moment of stillness, however fleeting, brings you closer to mastery. You will grow stronger with each breath, with each return to silence. Eventually, you'll merge with the universe's flow, you will becoming an extension of the divine will. The ancient mystics guarded this secret. In the silence of the mind, the infinite reveals itself, and in that revelation, you discover the limitless potential of your will. In esoteric traditions, limitations and weaknesses are not viewed as failures, but as opportunities for transformation. To the mystic, every limitation, whether mental, physical, or spiritual, is an invitation to transmute suffering and struggle into wisdom and strength. The ancient alchemist's quest to turn lead into gold serves as a metaphor for spiritual refinement. The process of inner alchemy begins by recognizing and accepting one's limitations. Instead of being constrained by these, the adept uses them as stepping stones to higher awareness and personal power. In this light, weaknesses are untapped potential. Occult traditions often teach that the areas where we perceive flaws are actually where our greatest strengths lie dormant, waiting to be awakened. The shadow self, a concept explored both in Jungian psychology and mystical teachings, represents the disowned or denied aspects of our psyche. By consciously integrating these shadow aspects, we unlock the fullness of our being. The Gnostics taught that the material world, with all its imperfections, is a reflection of the soul's journey toward wholeness. By confronting and transforming weaknesses, we ascend to higher states of consciousness. The adept doesn't avoid obstacles but engages with them directly, understanding that each challenge, be it physical, mental, or emotional, is a manifestation of a deeper spiritual lesson. According to Hermetic teachings, the universe operates on the principle of polarity. Every force has its opposite, and every challenge carries the seed of its own solution. For example, fear can be transformed into courage, doubt into faith, and confusion into clarity. The key lies in transmuting the negative into the positive, much like the alchemist transforms lead into gold. This process requires patience, discipline, and the will to face oneself with honesty and humility. An essential technique for this process of transformation is recognizing and embracing the lessons embedded in each limitation. Just as the Rosicrucians train the mind to focus through concentration, the adept learns to focus on their inner weaknesses not with fear, but with curiosity and resolve. Through this practice, weaknesses transform into strengths, and challenges become opportunities for growth. The occult path is not one of avoidance but of mastery over the self. As you confront your limitations and integrate your shadow self, you unlock deeper levels of your being and gain access to the limitless potential within you. This is the essence of spiritual alchemy, transforming the base elements of your existence into the gold of higher consciousness and personal empowerment. In summary, the Rosicrucians and other esoteric traditions teach that concentration and the transformation of weaknesses are crucial steps on the path to spiritual mastery. By focusing the mind and embracing our limitations, we can align our will with the divine, manifesting our desires and unlocking the mysteries of existence. In the mystical art of inner alchemy, the process of transmuting weakness into strength begins within oneself, much like how physical alchemists transformed base metals into gold. This transformation starts with awareness, identifying areas in life where limitations seem to hold sway. It could be a recurring fear, a deeply rooted negative belief, or a persistent lack of confidence in a certain aspect of life. Once these limitations are recognized, they must be faced with unwavering attention. Through practices like meditation, reflection, and ritual, the adept begins the profound work of transmutation. This work involves transforming the very forces that limit growth into energies of empowerment. For example, one practical exercise in this alchemical process is journaling. The focus of this journaling is on your weaknesses, allowing you to engage with them more deeply. Start by identifying a specific limitation, a fear or negative pattern, and write it down. Then, explore its roots. What emotions are tied to this weakness? Where did it originate? What has it taught you over time? Once the source is understood, you can begin to imagine how this limitation might become a strength. If fear dominates your life, how might overcoming it unleash boundless courage? If you battle self-doubt, how could confronting it head-on lead to unshakable confidence? As you explore these possibilities, you may start to feel a shift within, a moment when what once felt like a burden transforms into a challenge you're ready to overcome. Through this practice, you realize that your limitations aren't barriers but raw material for your personal growth. Just as an alchemist needs lead to produce gold, you require your weaknesses to uncover your hidden strengths. This is the timeless teaching of mystical traditions, which emphasize that no experience, no matter how difficult or painful, is ever wasted. Each challenge becomes an initiation, a test of will and spirit that brings you closer to mastery. As you transmute your limitations, they lose their hold on you, becoming the very foundation upon which you build strength and wisdom. If you're enjoying this audiobook and finding value in the content, we kindly ask you to take a moment to subscribe to the channel. A large portion of our listeners and viewers haven't subscribed yet, and by doing so, you'll help us grow and continue bringing you more high-quality audiobooks. Your support means a lot to us, and it's just one click away. So, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay connected and never miss out on our latest releases. The path of overcoming weakness through occult power is one of continuous refinement, the soul's journey from darkness to light, ignorance to wisdom. The mystic understands that this transformation is never truly complete. The spiritual gold is always being refined, purified, and honed. This endless cycle is the great work, or the magnum opus, of the soul. It requires unwavering dedication and perseverance. However, with each limitation you surpass, with each weakness you transform, you grow stronger and more capable of manifesting your will. You also align more deeply with the divine forces that govern the universe. Ultimately, breaking limitations is about empowerment. The adept learns that true power comes not from avoiding challenges but from facing and mastering them. The very forces that seem to stand in your way can become the energies that propel you forward once you learn to harness them. This is the wisdom passed down through the ages, from alchemists to mystics and sages. Within every shadow lies light, and within every weakness lies the potential for infinite strength. By embracing limitations, you unlock the door to your true power, taking the first steps toward mastering your destiny. The concept of spiritual warriorship and mastering the will in the face of adversity is central to ancient wisdom schools. The archetype of the spiritual warrior represents the soul's eternal struggle against ignorance, darkness, and adversity. To the mystic, life is a battlefield where forces of light and darkness constantly contend for dominance within the individual. The spiritual warrior doesn't just fight external battles but engages in the most profound war of all, the internal battle against fear, doubt, and ego-driven limitations. Mastery of will is the spiritual warrior's greatest weapon, allowing them to navigate life's storms with unwavering clarity and strength. In this context, adversity isn't viewed as an enemy, but as a vital component of the soul's evolution. Gnostic texts often describe the struggle against archons, symbolic entities that represent the forces of ignorance and materialism. These forces aim to trap the soul in illusion, but they are not external beings. They are internal obstacles like negative thoughts, destructive emotions, and false beliefs that cloud the mind. The spiritual warrior knows that every challenge, every adversity, is an opportunity for growth. By mastering their will, they rise above these forces, transforming adversity into a tool for enlightenment and empowerment. According to Hermetic teachings, life moves in cycles, marked by expansion and contraction, peace and conflict. The spiritual warrior understands this rhythm and doesn't resist the ebb and flow of life's challenges. Instead, they learn to ride these waves, maintaining balance even in the most turbulent times. This is the essence of spiritual warriorship, to remain unswayed by external circumstances, standing firm in the inner fortress of willpower. By doing so, the warrior stays centered and acts with wisdom and precision, avoiding impulsive reactions driven by fear. Adversity, therefore, serves as a sharpening tool for the will. Just as a sword is tempered through fire, the will is strengthened through challenges. In mystical traditions, the soul's journey is one of trial and initiation. Each trial, whether personal loss, failure, or inner turmoil, is a test of the spirit's resilience. The spiritual warrior doesn't avoid these trials but faces them directly, knowing that they are the forge through which their will is purified. By mastering their reactions to adversity, the warrior transforms suffering into wisdom, weakness into strength, and fear into courage. One powerful method for cultivating the mindset of a spiritual warrior is through inner fortification. This involves building a mental and emotional space of strength, much like constructing an impenetrable fortress within. Begin by visualizing yourself in a sacred space, a temple, a castle, or a sanctuary on a mountain. This space represents your inner stronghold, a place where you feel safe, empowered, and unshakable. As you meditate, imagine yourself surrounded by the light of your own will, radiating strength and clarity. Visualize that no external force, no matter how powerful, can penetrate this fortress. Through this practice, you create a space within where you remain centered and powerful, no matter what challenges arise. The spiritual warrior recognizes that this inner strength is the key to mastering life's adversities. In this way, adversity becomes not something to fear, but a tool for growth and enlightenment. Transmuting weakness into strength is an ancient practice within the realm of inner alchemy, a mystical art where practitioners focus on transforming energies within the self. This process mirrors the transformation that physical alchemists sought, turning base metals into gold. It all begins with awareness, the conscious recognition of where one feels limited, held back, or restrained. These limitations may manifest as recurring fears, negative beliefs, or perhaps a lack of confidence in specific areas of life. Once identified, these weaknesses are not ignored or suppressed. They must be faced head-on, examined closely, and transformed. Through practices such as meditation, reflection, and ritual, the practitioner initiates the process of transmutation. This is the work of transforming limiting forces into the very energies that fuel growth and empowerment. A powerful method to assist in this process is journaling. By writing down your weaknesses, fears, or recurring negative patterns, you bring them into focus. From here, you explore their roots. Where do these weaknesses come from? What emotions are tied to them? What lessons have these limitations imparted? Through this process of deep reflection, you can begin to reimagine how these very weaknesses could be transformed into strengths. For instance, consider fear. If you fear something, you could explore how transforming that fear could lead to great courage. If you struggle with self-doubt, consider how overcoming that doubt might give rise to unshakable confidence. As you continue this work, you will notice an inner shift. Eventually, what once felt like a burden, a limiting weakness, becomes a challenge that you feel ready to overcome. This is where inner alchemy begins to take effect. The realization dawns that your limitations are not hindrances but the raw material necessary for growth. Just as the alchemist requires lead to create gold, you need your weaknesses to forge your strengths. This profound understanding has been taught in mystical traditions for centuries. No experience, no matter how painful or challenging, is ever wasted. Every difficulty presents an opportunity, a test of will, and a chance for the soul to evolve toward mastery. By transmuting your limitations, they lose their power over you. Instead of holding you back, they become the foundation of your strength and wisdom. The process of overcoming weaknesses through occult power is continuous. It is the journey of the soul, moving from darkness into light, ignorance into wisdom. The mystic recognizes that transformation is never truly complete. The gold of the spirit is always in a state of purification, constantly being refined. This ongoing evolution is what alchemists call the magnum opus, or great work of the soul. The journey requires dedication and perseverance. But with each limitation you transform, with every weakness you turn into strength, you gain the power to manifest your will and align more deeply with the divine forces of the universe. Ultimately, the lesson in overcoming limitations is one of empowerment. The adept understands that true power comes not from avoiding challenges but from confronting and mastering them. The forces that appear to oppose you can become the very energies that propel you forward once you learn to harness them. This ancient wisdom, passed down through the teachings of alchemists, mystics, and sages, reveals a profound truth. Within every shadow lies light, and within every weakness lies the potential for boundless strength. By embracing your limitations, you unlock the door to your true power, taking the first steps toward mastery of your destiny. The archetype of the spiritual warrior plays a crucial role in the mystical journey. In ancient wisdom traditions, the spiritual warrior symbolizes the soul's eternal struggle against ignorance, darkness, and adversity. Life, to the mystic, is a battlefield of consciousness, where the forces of light and darkness constantly contend for dominance. The spiritual warrior doesn't merely fight external battles but engages in the most profound struggle of all, the internal battle against fear, doubt, and ego-driven limitations. Mastery of the will is the primary weapon of the spiritual warrior. By cultivating inner strength and clarity, the warrior can face life's storms without losing balance. Adversity is not an enemy to be vanquished, but an essential aspect of the soul's evolution. In Gnostic and esoteric teachings, the struggle against the archons, symbolic entities representing ignorance and materialism, is the soul's effort to break free from illusion. These archons are not external forces, they are internal obstacles like negative thoughts, destructive emotions, and false beliefs that obscure the mind. The spiritual warrior understands that each challenge, every adversity, is an opportunity for growth. By mastering the will, the warrior transcends these obstacles, transforming adversity into a catalyst for enlightenment and empowerment. Hermetic teachings emphasize that life operates in cycles of expansion and contraction, peace and conflict. The spiritual warrior does not resist these natural rhythms but learns to move with them, maintaining balance even during times of great upheaval. This is the essence of the spiritual warrior's path, to remain steadfast in the face of external chaos by cultivating an unshakable inner fortress of willpower. When the warrior confronts adversity, it is not with fear but with the knowledge that each trial is an opportunity for growth. In this way, suffering is transformed into wisdom, weakness into strength, and fear into courage. One practice that reinforces the warrior's mindset is the cultivation of an inner sanctuary, a mental and emotional fortress of strength that cannot be breached by the external world. This involves visualizing yourself in a sacred space, such as a temple or sanctuary, where you are completely safe and empowered. During meditation, imagine this space as a fortress fortified by your willpower, radiating clarity and strength. With each breath, reinforce this feeling, allowing your will to grow stronger, more resilient, and more focused. Over time, this practice alters your response to adversity. Rather than being swept away by circumstances, you remain grounded in your inner strength. Challenges are no longer seen as threats but as opportunities to fortify your will. This is the way of the spiritual warrior, not to be without fear or doubt but to master these forces and use them as fuel for growth. True mastery of will, as taught in mystical traditions, is ultimately selfless. The spiritual warrior not only overcomes personal adversity but also becomes a guide for others. Having conquered their own fears and limitations, they become a source of strength and wisdom for those who are still in the darkness of ignorance. In this way, the warrior's path intersects with that of the healer and sage, leading not just themselves but others toward enlightenment. In conclusion, the path of the spiritual warrior is one of constant growth and vigilance. The battles may change, but the principles remain the same: steadfastness in the face of adversity, mastery over the will, and the courage to transform challenges into opportunities for enlightenment. By walking this path, the spiritual warrior transcends the ordinary, becoming a living embodiment of the mystical principles they study. They rise above the limitations of fear and ignorance, becoming a beacon of light in a world of shadows. The interplay of willpower and destiny is at the heart of spiritual mastery. The mystical traditions, especially the teachings of the Rosicrucians, emphasize that life's challenges aren't random obstacles but part of a larger cosmic plan. Each moment presents an opportunity to either align with this greater plan or resist it. This dynamic interaction is the essence of the spiritual journey. It is not about controlling every aspect of life, but rather about learning when to act and when to surrender to the unfolding of a larger, divine plan. Rosicrucians teach that true mastery of the will comes when it is aligned with the divine plan, allowing for a harmonious flow between the individual's desires and the universe's unfolding. As one deepens their understanding of this balance, every challenge begins to appear as an opportunity for growth rather than something to be feared or avoided. These challenges refine the soul and bring one closer to fulfilling their true destiny, a destiny that isn't imposed from outside but grows organically from within, as the soul's purpose is gradually revealed. Through this process, willpower is elevated from a tool of control to one of alignment. The adept learns to discern when to assert their will and when to surrender to the natural flow of life. This is the true art of living in harmony, not by forcing outcomes but by aligning with the higher guidance of the divine plan. Such mastery brings a sense of fulfillment, for when the will is harmonized with the cosmos, the individual becomes a co-creator of their reality. In this sacred dance between personal will and destiny, life becomes a journey of continuous evolution and growth. Every decision, every step, is informed by a deepening connection to the divine will. The key is not passive submission, but active participation in the unfolding of destiny. By aligning personal desires with the greater good, the spiritual practitioner begins to influence not only their own life but the world around them. As this alignment deepens, the practitioner's will becomes an extension of the divine will, and their actions take on a sacred significance. This is the essence of spiritual mastery, using willpower not to force outcomes but to work in partnership with the universe, bringing forth the highest expression of one's soul's purpose. Ritual, in this context, is a powerful tool for directing the energies of willpower. In esoteric traditions, Rituals are symbolic acts that focus the practitioner's intention and connect them with higher cosmic energies. These rituals serve as bridges between the physical and spiritual realms, aligning the individual with universal forces. Hermetic and Rosicrucian teachings emphasize that rituals, when performed with clarity and focus, can manifest real changes in the outer world by creating shifts within the inner realms of consciousness. The principle of as above, so below underpins all esoteric rituals. This Hermetic axiom teaches that the physical world is a reflection of the spiritual world, and by influencing one, the other is also affected. Rituals embody this correspondence, using physical symbols and gestures to invoke higher energies. Symbols like the sacred circle, the pentagram, or the triangle of manifestation are more than just visual aids. They are gateways to deeper realms of power. When combined with focused intent, these symbols direct energy toward a desired outcome. Ritual also engages the subconscious mind, which is considered the seat of creative power in esoteric philosophy. While the conscious mind is bound by logic and reason, the subconscious operates through symbols and archetypes. By performing rituals, the practitioner bypasses the conscious filters and taps directly into the subconscious. This allows the desired intention to take root, making it more likely to manifest in reality. In this way, ritual becomes an act of transformation, turning intention into reality by awakening deeper powers within. Rosicrucian rituals are regarded as sacred performances that reflect higher cosmic truths. These are not merely routines to be followed, but acts of deep spiritual significance. Whether invoking protection, calling forth abundance, or seeking guidance from the divine, the effectiveness of a ritual depends on the clarity of intention and the alignment of willpower with divine principles. A ritual performed with selfish motives or unclear intent will likely fail, but one done with a pure heart and focused will align the practitioner with the cosmos, manifesting their highest aspirations. Creating a personal ritual to direct willpower begins with setting a clear intention. Whether the goal is personal strength, spiritual insight, or material success, the intention must be specific and aligned with a deeper purpose. For example, if the goal is to manifest abundance, one might incorporate symbols of prosperity, like coins or gold. If seeking spiritual wisdom, symbols like the owl, the candle flame, or the third eye may be used. The chosen symbols should resonate with the desired outcome, as they help focus the mind and direct the energies of willpower. Once the symbols and intention are clear, the next step is to create a sacred space. This space should be free from distractions and infused with an atmosphere of reverence. Many esoteric traditions recommend casting a protective circle before beginning the ritual, using salt, candles, or visualization techniques. This circle acts as a barrier against unwanted influences and concentrates the energy within. Within this space, the practitioner is no longer bound by the mundane world. They have entered a realm where the divine and human meet, and the laws of the cosmos are at their command. The ritual itself should be performed with full focus and intent. Every word, every action, should be charged with the power of will. If invoking divine energies, do so with humility and reverence, recognizing that these forces are far greater than the individual. If directing energy toward a specific outcome, visualize it with crystal clarity, see it, feel it, and believe in it as though it has already manifested. The key to any successful ritual is belief. Without belief, the ritual becomes an empty gesture. But when charged with willpower and faith, it becomes a powerful tool for shaping reality. After completing the ritual, the practitioner must let go of the outcome, trusting that the universe will bring forth the best possible result. This balance between intention and surrender is the core of true spiritual mastery. It is about acting with purpose while remaining open to the flow of divine guidance. In this way, rituals not only help manifest desired outcomes but also deepen the practitioner's connection to the divine will, aligning personal will with the cosmic forces that shape the universe. In spiritual practices, the idea of releasing intention into the universe and then trusting the process is critical. When performing rituals, many make the mistake of obsessing over the outcome, constantly questioning whether the ritual worked. This doubt and constant checking only serve to block the natural flow of energy. Instead, once a ritual is completed, it's essential to surrender the outcome to higher forces. This act of surrender is just as important as the ritual itself because it allows the cosmic energies to work on your behalf without interference from your ego or rational mind. Incorporating rituals into your routine, whether daily or weekly, can be an excellent way to strengthen your willpower and direct your energies toward your highest goals. Not every ritual needs to be elaborate, but each one should be performed with a clear intention, focus, and reverence. Whether it's a full moon ritual for personal growth, a morning invocation for protection, or a simple meditation to center your mind, each sacred act helps you move closer to mastering both your internal and external worlds. Through these sacred acts, your willpower becomes more than just a personal force. It becomes a channel for divine power, allowing you to shape your life with purpose and precision. As you practice rituals consistently, you'll begin to notice their transformative effect, not only on your external circumstances but also on your internal state. Performing rituals requires concentration, discipline, and willpower, and over time, these qualities will spread into other areas of your life, helping you become more focused, intentional, and in control of your destiny. In this way, ritual bridges the gap between the physical and spiritual worlds, aligning your will with universal forces. True mastery comes when your will is in harmony with higher cosmic laws. When this alignment is achieved, there is nothing you cannot accomplish. Ritual becomes both a spiritual practice and a practical tool for self-mastery, serving as a powerful way to channel divine energies into the material world. In esoteric traditions, sexual energy is regarded as a potent spiritual force that fuels willpower and creativity. This energy, when properly harnessed, is seen as the wellspring of personal mastery and the fulfillment of one's higher purpose. From the teachings of Tantra to the philosophies of Hermeticism and Rosicrucianism, sexual energy is viewed as more than just a physical drive. It is the primal creative force that fuels both physical existence and spiritual transformation. To the uninitiated, sexual energy often manifests as desire, pleasure, or passion. However, for those versed in esoteric traditions, it is much more than that. Sexual energy serves as a bridge between the material and divine realms, a vital force that can be channeled toward personal growth and spiritual ascension. At the core of this understanding is the principle of transmutation. In alchemy, transmutation refers to the process of converting base elements into refined substances, lead into gold, ignorance into wisdom. When it comes to sexual energy, this means transforming raw desire into spiritual power. Hermetic philosophers often compare sexual energy to fire. If left unchecked, it can consume and destroy, but if properly controlled and directed, it can purify and illuminate. The adept learns to harness this inner fire, channeling it upward through the body's energy centers to fuel the mind, spirit, and will. This knowledge of sexual transmutation has been safeguarded by secret orders and mystical schools for centuries. For example, the Rosicrucians taught that mastering sexual energy was key to unlocking higher states of consciousness. In their tradition, the balance of male and female principles, symbolized by the rose and the cross, reflects the internal balance of energies. When these energies are harmonized, they give rise to the flowering of the soul, the transmutation of physical desire into divine will. This process requires discipline, self-awareness, and a deep understanding of the body and spirit. The practice of sexual transmutation begins with recognizing energy in its raw form. Every desire, every passion, every spark of excitement is an expression of this vital force. Instead of allowing these impulses to dissipate through physical action or emotional indulgence, the adept learns to contain and redirect them. Techniques such as breath control, visualization, and meditation can help in drawing this energy upward through the body's energy centers, often referred to as chakras in Eastern traditions or psychic channels in Western esotericism. As the energy rises through the central column of the body, often visualized as a glowing channel of light, it is refined and transformed. It nourishes the heart's capacity for compassion, the mind's clarity of thought, and the spirit's connection to the divine. The process of sublimation is not about suppression or denial, but about conscious elevation. Suppression leads to imbalance and inner conflict, while sublimation allows the energy to be refined into a higher, more spiritual form. This alchemical process empowers the will and enables the practitioner to accomplish great things, both materially and spiritually. Through sexual transmutation, the will becomes a dynamic, creative force capable of shaping reality in alignment with the practitioner's highest aspirations. One of the most effective methods for practicing sexual transmutation can be found in both Hermetic and Tantric traditions. It involves the controlled breath, combined with focused intention and visualization. Breath is seen as the vehicle for moving energy, and when combined with visualization, it allows raw sexual energy to be transmuted into spiritual power. The individual learns to focus on drawing energy from the lower energy centers, often associated with base desires, and moving it upward through the body's energy channels. As the energy ascends, it is transformed into a higher, purer form of creative power. For those practicing this art, it begins with cultivating an awareness of sexual energy in everyday life. Pay attention to moments of heightened desire or excitement, whether physical or emotional. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to breathe deeply and center yourself. This pause creates the space needed to redirect the energy inward, allowing it to be transmuted into a more refined, spiritual force. Over time, this practice strengthens the will, enhances concentration, and increases your ability to manifest your deepest intentions. In conclusion, sexual energy is not something to be suppressed or feared. Instead, it is a vital force that can be harnessed for personal and spiritual growth. When properly understood and channeled, this energy becomes a powerful tool for achieving mastery over oneself and one's destiny. Through the practice of sexual transmutation, the adept learns to refine their inner energies, transforming base desires into divine willpower. This mastery not only fuels personal aspirations but also aligns the practitioner with the higher laws of the universe, allowing them to manifest their highest potential. Envision yourself in a serene state, inhaling deeply and allowing the energy within to rise from the lower centers of your body. This energy often manifests as warmth or a tingling sensation, making its journey up through your spine and into your heart or mind. With every breath, visualize this energy being refined, transforming from raw physical desire into a more subtle, spiritual force. A crucial element in this practice is maintaining mental focus and intention. According to the teachings of both Hermeticism and Tantra, the mind serves as the director of energy. Where the mind directs its attention, energy flows. Thus, the potential lies in your ability to stay concentrated on the higher purpose of the energy you are cultivating. Whether your aim is personal empowerment, creative inspiration, or spiritual awakening, it is vital to keep this intention crystal clear as you engage with your energy. This focused intention serves as the catalyst that turns ordinary desire into a powerful tool for personal mastery. The benefits of mastering this vital force extend far beyond the immediate practice. Over time, as you continue to transmute your sexual energy, you will notice your willpower growing stronger, your creativity flourishing, and your ability to manifest desires becoming increasingly effortless. The energy that was once dissipated through physical or emotional outlets is now channeled toward your loftiest goals, creating a profound sense of inner alignment and personal power. You may also experience an enhanced sense of vitality and well-being, as this energy nourishes not only your spiritual faculties but your physical body as well. In essence, mastering sexual energy involves reclaiming your vital force and utilizing it consciously. It entails recognizing that within you lies an immense reservoir of creative potential, and that by harnessing this energy, you can shape your destiny with clarity and purpose. The ancient mystics remind us that true power emanates not from external circumstances but from self-mastery. Nowhere is this principle more evident than in the control and transmutation of the life force itself. Through this practice, you can step into a deeper level of personal mastery where your will becomes the driving force behind all that you create, both internally and externally. As you learn to transmute sexual energy, you not only gain control over desire but also discover how to wield this energy as a tool for spiritual ascension. Once understood and mastered, this vital force becomes the key to unlocking the deeper mysteries of willpower and personal transformation. The practitioner aligns with the age-old wisdom of alchemists, who understood that the greatest power resides not in the external world but in the refinement and mastery of internal energies. As you traverse this path, you will realize that this vital force is not merely a source of personal power, it embodies the very essence of creation itself, waiting to be harnessed for the fulfillment of your highest purpose. In the realm of esoteric traditions, the ultimate expression of willpower is found in service to a higher purpose. While personal mastery and self-dominion serve as foundational elements, true power emerges when the will aligns not only with individual desires but also with the greater good of humanity and the divine plan of the universe. This concept is central to Rosicrucianism, Gnosticism, and various mystical teachings that emphasize the most potent application of willpower in selfless service. It is through this alignment that the adept transcends the limitations of ego-driven will, becoming a vessel for the universal will. This allows the energies of the cosmos to flow through them, contributing to the upliftment of all beings. At the core of this teaching lies the recognition that we are all interconnected, part of a larger web of existence that extends beyond the individual self. For instance, Rosicrucians viewed humanity as a collective organism, where the evolution of one soul contributes to the evolution of the whole. Therefore, personal mastery is never pursued for selfish gain but rather as a means of uplifting others and enhancing the greater harmony of the universe. Similarly, the Gnostic tradition teaches that the journey toward gnosis, or divine knowledge, remains incomplete until it is shared with others. The true purpose of enlightenment is to illuminate the world. To serve others with willpower is to act as a conduit for the divine. When personal will aligns with the greater will of the cosmos, the individual becomes a force of nature, capable of manifesting profound changes in the world. This is not a force of domination but rather a quiet, persistent power rooted in love, wisdom, and compassion. It embodies the power of the sage, who acts without attachment to personal gain, trusting that the universe will use them as an instrument for a higher purpose. In this harmonious state, the will becomes effortless, as it is no longer encumbered by the desires or fears of the ego. Instead, it is guided by the flow of divine will. In esoteric traditions, service is often regarded as the highest form of spiritual practice. The will to serve transforms mere ambition into a sacred calling. This calling may manifest in various forms, through healing, teaching, creating, or simply offering one's presence and support to those in need. What truly matters is not the form of service but the intention behind it. When the will to serve is pure and free from attachment, ego, or the desire for recognition, it taps into an inexhaustible source of energy. This alignment with the greater currents of cosmic energy allows the individual to draw from the boundless power of the universe itself. A key practice in aligning your will with service involves cultivating compassion and empathy. In both Eastern and Western mystical traditions, these qualities are deemed essential for developing a higher will. Compassion arises from understanding our interconnectedness, realizing that the suffering of one is the suffering of all. In Buddhism, this principle is encapsulated in the Bodhisattva path, where the enlightened being vows to use their will and wisdom to alleviate the suffering of others. Similarly, Rosicrucian teachings encourage initiates to cultivate a heart full of love for humanity, as love represents the highest expression of will. To effectively align your will with service, consider starting each day with an intention-setting practice. In this ritual, you consciously direct your will toward the greater good, asking how you can serve others and contribute to the universe's harmony. This practice allows you to become a conscious participant in the flow of universal energy, ensuring that your actions align with your higher purpose. As you deepen your understanding of willpower and service, you will discover that personal mastery is not merely about self-enhancement. It is about becoming a beacon of light in a world that often feels dark and chaotic. By serving others, you tap into the vast reservoir of cosmic energy available to all, contributing to the greater good while simultaneously elevating your own spiritual journey. Your practice of sexual energy transmutation and willpower is inherently linked to your ability to serve. By embodying compassion and understanding the interconnectedness of all life, you will naturally find avenues to express your will in service to humanity. The more you cultivate this alignment, the more profound your personal transformations will become. In conclusion, the path of personal mastery and the transmutation of sexual energy is not solely a personal endeavor. It is a collective journey that emphasizes our interconnectedness and shared purpose. By recognizing that your will can serve the greater good, you open the door to limitless possibilities, not just for yourself but for all beings. Through selfless service, you unlock the true power of will, allowing it to flow in harmony with the universe, leading to spiritual growth and fulfillment that transcend individual desires. Engaging in a simple prayer or meditation can be a transformative practice that opens the heart and mind to the divine. As you settle into this stillness, take a moment to ask to be used as a vessel for the divine will. Visualize your energy flowing outward, connecting with the collective energy of humanity and the cosmos. Allow yourself to feel the connection and trust that even your smallest actions contribute to a larger purpose. Another powerful tradition to consider is the Rosicrucian practice of silent service. In this approach, practitioners engage in acts of service without seeking recognition or reward. This could mean offering assistance to those in need, sharing knowledge, or simply being present for someone who is experiencing difficulty. The essence of this practice lies in its silent nature, performing acts of kindness without expectation of acknowledgement or praise. By doing so, the practitioner cultivates humility, allowing for a detachment from the ego's craving for validation. In this silence of service, the will aligns more profoundly with the divine, transforming the practitioner into a channel for the universal flow of love and wisdom. Service holds a unique capacity to refine and purify the will. When we serve others selflessly, we begin to dissolve the boundaries between ourselves and others. This dissolution allows our wills to expand, shifting our focus away from personal gain and towards the needs of the collective. Gnostic mystics teach that true gnosis arises from this ego dissolution. Only by transcending the limitations of the individual self can we access the deeper wisdom embedded within the collective consciousness. In this manner, service becomes a pathway to spiritual liberation, freeing us from the narrow confines of the personal will. As one engages in acts of service, the will is simultaneously strengthened and refined. Service requires discipline, dedication, and the capacity to persevere when faced with challenges. It's easy to engage in acts of kindness when the conditions are favorable, but true mastery of willpower reveals itself when one continues to serve even in difficult or uncomfortable situations. The occult traditions suggest that it is during these challenging moments that the will is truly tested and tempered, much like a sword forged in fire. By embracing such challenges, the practitioner transforms their will into an instrument of immense power and precision. The will to serve stands as the highest form of willpower, for it aligns individuals with the divine plan for creation. In this alignment, personal desires begin to dissipate, leaving behind a pure, selfless intention to uplift and elevate all beings. This path is that of the sage, the mystic, and the master, a journey that leads not only to personal mastery but also to mastery over life itself. By dedicating your will to the service of others, you transcend the limitations of the personal self, stepping into the vast, limitless power of the universal will. Through this alignment, you become a co-creator with the divine, shaping reality not through force but through love and wisdom. This ancient wisdom teaches us that the greatest power lies not in exerting control over others, but in serving them. By utilizing your willpower to uplift and support the greater good, you tap into an infinite reservoir of universal energy. This energy allows you to manifest your highest potential while contributing to the harmony and evolution of the world. In this context, the will to serve becomes a dual pathway, a route to personal mastery and a means of achieving spiritual fulfillment and unity with the divine. Central to all esoteric teachings is the understanding that willpower serves as the key to unlocking the infinite potential of the human soul. Beyond mere discipline or strength of mind, willpower is the driving force propelling the initiate toward higher states of consciousness, deeper wisdom, and ultimately union with the divine. It is through the focused application of will that one transcends the illusions of the material world, stepping into the boundless realms of spirit. Ancient sages, from the Hermetics to the Rosicrucians, recognized that the mastery of will was not just an earthly pursuit, it was inherently cosmic. The secret to accessing infinite willpower is often misconceived as a tool for controlling the external world, shaping material outcomes, and bending circumstances to personal desires. While a strong will can influence external reality, this understanding only scratches the surface of its true power. The deeper function of willpower, as taught in the mysteries, is to align the individual with the universal will. When this alignment occurs, the will transforms from an instrument of control into one of creation. The adept learns to direct their will toward higher purposes, not for personal gain but for fulfilling the divine plan. In this process, the boundaries between the personal and the universal begin to dissolve, allowing the will to become a conduit through which the infinite expresses itself in the finite world. The Hermetic principle of mentalism teaches that all is mind, and that the universe itself is a mental construct. An adept who masters their will gains access to the creative power of the universal mind. This is the true secret of manifestation, not that individual will can force the universe to conform to its desires, but that through mastery of will, the individual mind becomes one with the universal mind. In this state of unity, creation flows naturally. In this alignment, the adept can manifest not only their own desires but also the greater purposes of the cosmos. The universe becomes a reflection of their will, for their will is now in perfect harmony with the cosmos. The journey to mastering the will is one that leads to infinite potential. It requires not only discipline but also surrender to the higher forces governing the universe and to the divine intelligence that orchestrates all things. The Rosicrucians referred to this transformative process as the great work, an alchemical transformation of the self from base matter into spiritual gold. This transformation is achieved through refining the will and steadily applying intent toward higher purposes. As the will is refined, so too is the soul, until it becomes a clear vessel for expressing the divine. To reach this state of mastery, the initiate must first overcome the limitations imposed by the ego. The ego, with its desires and attachments, often seeks to use willpower for personal gain, control over others, or the fulfillment of selfish desires. However, the true power of will lies in its capacity to transcend these lower impulses and align with the higher self. In doing so, the initiate taps into a source of power far greater than any the ego could ever offer. To align oneself with the divine will, the boundless creative force that courses through all existence, is to enter a state where life flows with grace and ease. In this harmonious existence, creation is not a struggle. Instead, it unfolds naturally in accordance with the cosmic order. The journey toward this alignment begins with a profound inner exploration, primarily through meditation and deep reflection. This process requires quieting the mind and stilling the incessant noise of thoughts and desires, focusing the will on a singular intention. This concentration is the cornerstone of esoteric practice, serving as the means to penetrate the veils of illusion and uncover deeper truths about existence. As an individual enhances their ability to concentrate, they may begin to sense the subtle currents of universal energy, learning to channel this energy through their will toward noble and elevated purposes. In ancient traditions, the act of aligning one's will with the divine has often been symbolized by the sun, the ultimate source of light and energy that nurtures all forms of life. A practitioner who masters their will becomes akin to the sun, radiating creative energy that nourishes the world and illuminates those around them. This signifies the essence of enlightenment, transforming into a vessel for divine light and allowing one's will to harmonize with the universal will, thus releasing the boundless potential inherent in every being. A crucial aspect of mastering the will is practicing detachment, especially within the Rosicrucian and Hermetic traditions. However, detachment should not be misconstrued as a renunciation of desires or a withdrawal from the world. Rather, it involves releasing attachment to outcomes. The adept learns to wield their will with clarity and intention, yet remains unshackled from expectations regarding the results of their actions. By doing so, they open themselves to the natural flow of universal energy, trusting that the divine will manifest the highest good in every circumstance. This approach fosters flexibility and adaptability, freeing the practitioner from the rigid confines of ego-driven desire. Through this journey of detachment, individuals come to realize that the true power of the will resides not in exerting control over the external world, but in mastering the internal landscape. When the will aligns with the higher self, untethered from distractions of ego and attachments, it transforms into a creative force capable of shaping reality according to divine intentions. This realization serves as the master key to infinite potential, understanding that when properly directed, the will can unlock the infinite, allowing individuals to embrace their true nature as co-creators alongside the divine. The final step in the mastery of will involves integrating these insights into everyday life. This is where the journey culminates, the moment the practitioner no longer perceives a division between the spiritual and the material, living each day in constant alignment with the divine. Every thought, action, and intention emerges as an expression of the infinite will that flows through them and manifests in the world. This path defines the true master, one who has unlocked the door to the infinite and moves in harmony with the divine. Yet, it is essential to remember that the journey of mastering the will is never wholly complete. It is a lifelong commitment, an ever-unfolding adventure into deeper layers of wisdom and power. As long as individuals remain dedicated to the path, new heights will always beckon, inviting further exploration and the unlocking of new potentials. Mastering the will is not merely a destination, it serves as a gateway to infinite growth and a portal to the boundless possibilities residing within the human soul. As we reach the conclusion of this exploration into the ancient realms of willpower, we must remember that this journey does not reach an end here. Mastery of the will is not an accomplishment that can be ticked off a checklist. It is an ongoing process of continual evolution and self-refinement. Every step taken along this path reveals fresh dimensions of power, new potentials within the self, and opportunities for greater alignment with the universal forces. To truly master the will is to engage in an endless quest for self-perfection and alignment with the divine. The sages, mystics, and esoteric masters who trod this path before us understood that developing willpower is a sacred act, a manifestation of the divine essence within, and a testament to the infinite potential that lies dormant in every soul, waiting to awaken. The will is not merely a tool for personal advantage or external manipulation. It is the flame that ignites the deepest desires of the soul, yearnings for unity, purpose, and enlightenment. When nurtured and cultivated, willpower transforms individuals into co-creators of their destinies, harmonizing with the eternal truths of the universe. This exploration has introduced knowledge and practices handed down through generations from ancient esoteric traditions such as the Hermetics, Gnostics, Rosicrucians, and alchemists. These teachings remain timeless, relevant today as they were in the sacred spaces of ancient temples and mystery schools. Willpower, as understood through the lens of these mystical traditions, is the key not only to mastering one's life but also to comprehending the hidden forces that shape existence itself. Throughout this journey, we have examined various aspects of willpower, tracing its mystical origins as the divine spark connecting individuals to the universal mind. We have also explored its practical applications in overcoming obstacles, manifesting desires, and aligning with the divine plan. Furthermore, we have delved into the hidden mechanics of creation through thought, the sacred nature of intention, and the deeper significance of silence, stillness, and concentration as powerful tools. You have been guided through the transformative alchemy of converting personal weaknesses into strengths and have learned how to cultivate resilience in the face of adversity. However, the journey of willpower does not end with the acquisition of knowledge, rather, it begins anew with the practice. Knowledge left unutilized resembles a seed that never sprouts. True transformation occurs when this knowledge is woven into the fabric of daily life, applied during mundane moments, and tested against the challenges of reality. The practices, rituals, and meditations presented throughout this exploration are intended not merely for reading but for living. It is through repetition, persistence, and dedication that the will is nurtured and honed, evolving into a powerful force for both personal and collective transformation. Every day presents a fresh chance to sharpen the will, cultivate the mind, and strengthen the soul. Whether through a brief moment of meditation or a more intricate ritual, every act of focused intention enhances your connection to the boundless energy within. The journey of willpower encompasses both surrender and mastery. It involves letting go of the ego's fleeting desires while simultaneously aligning with the greater will of the cosmos. This interplay of conscious action and spiritual submission is essential to unlock your fullest potential. In this light, this book serves as a gentle reminder that true strength resides within. It isn't contingent upon external circumstances or the exertion of control over others, but is rooted in the ability to master oneself. The path toward mastery is characterized by continuous growth, necessitating humility, discipline, and the bravery to confront personal limitations. Yet the rewards for undertaking this journey are profound: the power to shape your reality, to transcend the illusions of the material world, and to live in harmony with the divine order of the universe. As you embark on this journey, remember that mastering willpower is fundamentally a quest for your highest self. It is a transformative path that leads to the recognition of your infinite nature, where the self's boundaries dissolve, merging into the vastness of the great cosmic will. Ancient sages understood this eternal truth: within each individual lies the potential to create, transform, and transcend. The key to unlocking that potential lies in your will. With the wisdom of ages past by your side, the next steps are yours to take. Embrace your power and assert control over your life using the infinite capabilities of your will. The path before you is expansive, filled with endless possibilities. Each moment is an invitation to harness this power, to cultivate resilience and clarity of purpose, and to trust in the journey ahead. Consider each day an opportunity to train your will. Approach life with intention and clarity, allowing each action to resonate with your higher aspirations. In doing so, you not only fortify your spirit but also align yourself with the greater tapestry of existence. The act of focusing your thoughts and energy empowers you to rise above challenges, fostering a sense of peace and balance. As you navigate the ups and downs of life, remember that mastering the will is a lifelong endeavor. It requires continuous commitment to self-improvement, an openness to learning, and the courage to confront the shadows within. Embrace this journey as a sacred act, a testament to the divine spark within you. Allow your will to be the guiding force that illuminates your path, transforming obstacles into opportunities and limitations into possibilities. The journey toward mastery is not linear, it is a spiral, inviting deeper exploration and understanding at every turn. Celebrate the small victories, for they lay the foundation for greater achievements. The energy of persistence will guide you, transforming every effort into a building block for your growth. Trust in your innate ability to shape your reality and to respond to life's challenges with grace and strength. With each conscious choice, you draw closer to the essence of who you truly are, a powerful creator, a vessel of divine energy, and an integral part of the universe's unfolding story. In closing, step forward boldly, harnessing the infinite power of your will. The path is open, the possibilities are boundless. Your journey awaits, filled with transformation, creation, and profound connection to the cosmic order. Embrace it fully, and let your will be the force that propels you into your highest destiny. Copyright 2024 by AudioBooksTube. Thank you for listening. Please consider to subscribe, like, and share to help the channel grow. New videos on a daily basis.